For over 20 years, WWE Raw has been the flagship show for WWE. Something like that is probably never going to change. It's the brand in which WWE puts their most focus on. And even with the brand split, with Raw and SmackDown, where they're going to be splitting up the rosters, you can put almost all of the good talent over on SmackDown. But when it comes to Raw, they're always going to make sure that these guys are 5-star when it comes to presentation. So with the brand split coming, I decided to split up the Raw roster myself and make 2 separate balanced brands. With SmackDown being the lesser brand currently, I put more flair into it to bring it up to Raw's level. Without completely ripping apart the Raw roster, I think I got it as balanced as possible once you split up the factions. There's going to be no NXT players on either of these lists unless they're on the extreme verge of being called up, aka my SmackDown top 10. So just like in that SmackDown top 10, we're going to start this off with some enhancement talent and some star women. First, we're going to start off with the enhancement talents. We got Dog Ziggler, Woof Ziggler as I call him, the Lucha Dragons, Darren Young, and the Dudleys. These guys can take losses and it won't even matter. They're probably not going to move up the card much. But there is a chance that Kalisto can move up the ladder. And if they decide to put Woof Ziggler back into a heel role, he'll be great and he could probably make a splash for about 3 to 6 months. So then he's going to be right back to enhancement talent. The women, on the other hand, and you guys already know this one, we have Charlotte and Sasha. Now, when it comes to star power or just overall Raw talent, you're probably going to think that most of the talent is over on SmackDown. But I think that these 2 women in particular help bring this Raw roster up to snuff when compared on a bigger scale of things. These 2 drastically help the Raw roster. So now that we have that out of the way, let's get into our top 10 Raw draft pick thingamajigs, whatever we're calling this. Starting out with number 10, I have Sheamus. Now, the reason I didn't move Sheamus over to SmackDown is because I feel like WWE still wants to put some type of stock into Sheamus. If they decide to take a gamble on this guy, on making him big again, it could be a big time thing if it happens on Raw. If it happens on SmackDown, it won't be that big a deal because it just won't have that wow factor, it won't have that surprise factor because Sheamus is more of a brawling type of big guy. And he's going to fit. You're gonna see a bit of a theme here on my Raw roster. But Sheamus' style and his size fits this Raw roster. Number 9, the Usos. Because of Roman Reigns. Number 8, The Miz. The Miz is always going to be a go-to guy to get that mid-card level heat. Well, he's always going to get big heat, but he's always going to be that go-to guy for the mid-card. You can slap a title on this guy at any time. You can strip the title off of him. Anytime they decide that they don't want to have him in the ring wrestling or in a feud, he can contribute in other ways. He can contribute backstage. He can contribute in segments. He can contribute in interviews. Hell, you can put the guy on commentary and he'll be pretty damn good. The Miz, even though he's hated by a lot, he gives pretty good heat, which is a good thing for his character. He always will have something to do, and he'll always be on camera. You're going to need somebody like that when you got so much talent over on SmackDown. Number 7, the Randy Orton. Just like SmackDown having a veteran in John Cena, Raw is going to need their veteran in Randy Orton. He's going to be the guy. He's going to be the measuring stick. You can pretty much put him at upper mid card, lower main event card, and he can be that guy, that standard bearer, who everybody has to get through to get to that main event picture. And he can wrestle in main event matches as well. Orton is one of those guys, pretty much just like The Miz, but in the ring, where he can do anything. You can turn him babyface, you can turn him heel. He's a much better heel, but he's the guy that you will have to get through in order to get to that main event spot. You take down Orton, you get there. If you can't put on a good match with him, drop your ass down to mid-card. Raw's gonna need one of those. Number 6, Baron Corbin. Baron Corbin is an up-and-coming wrestler. Very good size. This guy's a monster. He's a stiff worker, and in the land of the Giants, he can work here. The theme for our Raw roster is going to be a lot of big guys. And if Vince is going to put most of his concentration into Raw, you know Vince loves his big guys. And Baron Corbin is right up that alley. And with all of the glitz and glamour type of talent out of the way and over on SmackDown, Baron Corbin fits on Raw perfectly. Number 5, The New Day. New Day is just the life of the party. Raw is always going to need that entertainment. And if SmackDown's going to have Enzo and Cass, Raw needs New Day. Now, I know you guys are like, well, what about the feud that the New Day could have with the Enzo and Cass? Look, no, stop. Sure, they could have it, but face versus face, they got the same type of gimmick where they're pretty much just entertainment acts. Why waste it? You know, you could pretty much have them both do the same thing on separate brands and feuding with other guys. And maybe, because it's reported that Vince actually wants to do, he has his eyes set on 2 events in which you bring the brands together. One being after WrestleMania and another being after a SummerSlam. That's when you can have your feud with these guys or your match with these guys. So it can still happen, but I would prefer that they be on separate brands, because if you get rid of one and put them both on one brand, where's your entertainment going to come from for the other? It just won't work. Also, if you split those guys up, I think now you can put some stock into them doing things. Big E in that upper mid card, Kofi in that mid card, Xavier Woods. Number 4, the Dean Ambrose. Dean Ambrose is a wild card. He could be a leader of SmackDown, but let's be real. WWE is not going to put big time stock into Dean. They've already proven it where they put him over big time and they put a lot of stock into him just to have him job out, and then they kill off his momentum right after. But personally, I think that WWE wants to build the Raw brand and build the future on the 3 Shield members, being Dean, Rollins, and Reigns. So I think that keeping those 3 together is always going to give you those chances where you can have those triple threats, or those times where you could put them back together as the Shield. You could always do something with them as long as they're all on the same brand. You can have feuds between the 3 of them. You can split them up. You can do tons of things with the 3 of these guys, which brings me to number 3, the Wyatt family. These guys add bulk to the roster and a big time feel if you book them correctly. They also add that size that Vince loves. And I think that he's finally going to get invested with him. You see that he was trying to do something a little bit different with Bray just before Bray got injured. But with these 4 guys, they're all big, burly, ridiculous guys. If you split them up, they each can bring their own thing to the table. You can put Rowan and the big other guy with the big beard. They all are big and got big beards. Braun Strowman. You can put those 2 together as a tag team, and later on down the line, they could job out to guys. Luke Harper. You could keep him around Bray Wyatt for a while, and then kind of put him off into his own after Vince accepts him. Luke Harper's the bigger talent, whereas Bray is the bigger star. Either way, as a faction, these guys can be dominant, and they can be big money. They can be even bigger than what the WWE hoped to have with the ministry. They can have here with the Wyatts. You split them up, 2 out of 4 of them can become huge stars, whereas the other 2 can be huge. No homo. Number 2. You guys are gonna fucking hate me for this. Seth Rollins. Just like AJ Styles, Seth Rollins is the workhorse of the company. He'll be the guy that's going to be putting on the great matches. You can put Seth Rollins in there with literally almost anybody, as long as they're not 7 feet tall and 350 pounds. You can put Seth Rollins in there with anybody, and he's going to deliver the goods. They already have that over on SmackDown with an AJ. If you go by my list, you don't need another one. You're going to need somebody like Rollins to always get guys over and always help guys look good here on Raw, just like number 1, the Roman and the Reigns. I know, you got Roman sauce, yeah, whatever. Look, WWE is going to do what WWE wants to do. You're just going to have to deal with it. They want him to be the face of the company. That's just what it's going to be. Boo and throw hissy fits all you want. It's not going to change what Vince wants to do. What needs to change is the way that you guys actually look at the Roman in the ring. See that he actually puts on pretty decent matches? Yes, he does. Roman Reigns is just going to be the face of the company. I don't know what else to tell you. I'm sorry. I've got nothing for you. You're going to hate me for it. But before you hate me for it, drop a like on the video. The next video that we do related to SmackDown, I'm going to do the top 5 titles that I would like to see on the SmackDown brand. Also, down in the comment section below, I'm thinking about doing a Raw versus SmackDown live draft with someone. I haven't decided who yet. If you guys know people that you would like to see me do this draft with, drop that down in the comment section. If it's somebody I already talked to that you guys know about, that'll be a plus because that'll be easier. But I think that's all I got for this one. Glad I finally got it out of the way. You guys are going to kill me on Roman Reigns, aren't you?